Hello and welcome to Roll and Relax. I'm Claudia Mühlenweg, the creator of the Naturally Clear Vision Method and a yoga teacher, role model method practitioner, and a Bates vision improvement teacher. So today we will be using the little tune-up balls to roll out our tight tissues, and we will focus on the lower leg, the shins, the ankles, the feet, and the calves. And you will need a yoga block or a thick book, works too. And you need a pair of either the yoga tune-up balls, the small ones. You can also use the plus balls, the slightly bigger balls from Tune Up Fitness, or any other kind of grippy massage balls. I like these, but you don't have to use these. You can use other balls. And I will give you lots of different options. So let's look at the different muscles we will be working on. We will start with the shins. And so let me see here. So the shins, there's the tibialis anterior, right? So that's kind of like the inner shin. Then you have the extensor digitorum longus. So look at this. How interesting that is. So the muscles that extend your toes, so when you pull your toes up, see where it starts. I find this so interesting. And then there is this one. This is just, so the big toe has its own fancy little muscle called extensor hallucis longus. So that's just for the big toe. And we will be doing that later, where we lift the big toe separate from the small ones. So now you've seen the proof. You have different muscles, and it's possible. And then we will do let me look at this like quick. This is the foot. So in the foot, again, you see this here. So this is the extensor, is meaning like pulling the toes up. That's for the big toe. There's a lot more muscles, but I'm just showing you some of them. And then this is one, so to flex, to basically do a toe fist with your big toe, that's that one. So that's under the foot, that's underneath the foot. So I always like to think, it helps me to think of like what muscle is working. If you go that motion, it's a muscle underneath, and if you do that, it's a muscle on top. And then here, a few more. So this is, I showed you that already. Let's see. Hold on, I lost track of my cards here. Oh, here we go. So, and then this is extensor, flexor. So this is for the little toe to kind of make a toe fist. So this is again under the foot, on the bottom, if you look from the bottom of the foot. And then this one is flexor. This is, oh, sorry. And this is extensor for the second, third, and fourth toes. So again, extensor lifting the toes up. That's on the top of the foot, like on top. And then this is again at the bottom. I know I'm going back a little bit back and forth, but this is for the four toes to kind of do this, like the grabbing. And this is the one, if you have plantar fasciitis, this is probably the muscle that's the one that's really tight. That's the quadratus plantae, or how is it pronounced? Plantae. So that's a muscle right where the heel is that usually hurts when you have plantar fasciitis. And then, so for the last but not least, for the calves, gastrocnemius is that big kind of beautiful calf muscle that you have. I want to work mine out a little more, so it's a bit more defined. Underneath that is the soleus. And then you also have the tibialis posterior. So this is the muscle on the back of the leg also. And see how it's connected to the kind of to the extension of those bones in the foot. So it's so interesting, right, how long those muscles are. Okay, let's get started. We will start with the shins. So you need a yoga block. And I show you some different options. So you can do it, what I usually do is with the back, balls toed, so that in the toe, maybe I should move a little closer, move the computer a little closer so you see it better. But basically, you put your shin on top of the block, and you need a little bit of the runway. So if you have two yoga blocks, you can put them in a row, you make it a little longer, but you just basically start rolling back and forth. And so right now I'm only going from like right under the knee to the middle of my shin, and then I would have to do the rest separately, or if I have two blocks, I can put them in a row, but let's stay here. And then just explore where you feel something, and then maybe go a little bit more closer to the foot. Change the angle a little bit, maybe. All right, and then you can explore as you do that. You can explore what I'm doing here, like flexing your foot. That's why a thick yoga block is good. Or pointing it. When you find a spot that feels there's some tension, you can explore circling your foot, like creating all kinds of movement. And I'm like having a little bit crackling in my ankles here. Oops. And then other option, if you don't feel much, and for me, I'm actually very happy, I don't feel that much right now in my shins. You can also, again, and I actually, one thing I mentioned, I was walking the other day a lot, or running, and I wasn't used to doing this kind of extension, like doing this motion, and I felt like my whole shin was so tight. So this is when you, like, especially when you wear like sneakers or shoes all the time and you don't have a lot of plantar flexion like this, then you will have a lot of tightness. So this is a good thing just to practice pointing and flexing the toe. And if you want to feel more, so first of all, you can kind of lean from one side to the other too. Let's say it hurts more here. You can then, oh yeah, now I feel something. Now you can add kind of circling of pointing and flexing. Or you can also stack more body weight by putting your whole body weight. So you can do this and then create all kinds of movement, right? So now you're adding more weight basically. Another option that might be nice, if you have, let's say you have one spot right here that hurts, but nothing in here. What I like to do too is take one ball out. That's why I like these balls. They're so nice and grippy. And then you place that, let's say here, oops. And then you can actually even wind it up. You really grab those tissues, you spin it a little bit. Oh yeah. And then you really lean, you can kind of squish that ball. Ooh, that makes it like 10 times more intense. So this is a great way to just work on one spot. When you have the balls in the toe, you obviously get both kind of the inner and outer shin area, the different muscles there. But this is a really good one if you have one particular spot. Wow, this is really good. I love this. And then you can always add motion. I'm going to do one more here. And you have to kind of put it more toward the middle of the yoga block so that the yoga block doesn't spin it a little bit, like wind it up. And then you press. So I'm going, oh, wow. This is a new, I had no idea that this would be painful. When I first started today, I'm like, there's nothing in my shins. And now, and make sure you breathe, really make sure you breathe, especially into your belly, and adding that motion, maybe circling, just explore, leaning more this way. Yeah, so with one ball, it's really nice on the skin because you get that extra grip. Wow. Yeah, it's almost like my side is like, the side of my shin is like really tight. Maybe a little closer down here. Well, down here, it's not so bad. A little bit here, yeah. I mean, I could spend literally 30 minutes just on the shins, but we have a full program today. And now that you know what you need to do, you can always spend more time, rewatch this video, pause it, and then just watch it and then pause it and do the motions and then move on to the next body part. So, or if you only have 5 minutes, you just do one part. Yeah, wow. I don't know about you guys, but that last one was really made the difference. And now switching, other side. So I like to check in with 2 balls together, just getting a sense of what's going on. Okay, so I'm trying to see that I'm in the picture. I'm not chopped off when I'm doing this. Okay, so just getting the sense of just rolling back and forth. Yeah, I can already feel more stuff here. So and then start. It's always like right here for me, that spot, right? And that could be actually the origin point of some of these muscles. And then, adding any motion or maybe leaning more into that ball, pointing, flexing. And I'm going to do the same thing I did on the other side. So I'm going to, and my skin is super dry right now, but if you put the balls on the skin, you always want to make sure that you didn't just put some coconut oil or some slick lotion on it, because then you lose that grip. So I, on purpose, didn't put any lotion on my legs this morning. Oh yeah, wow. This is a good one. This is my new favorite one. I don't even have to add a lot of motion, just leaning into that ball and winding it up a little bit. So you can spin it the other way. Or it's a little bit of negotiation here with that block so that you're not tipping over, but you're basically kind of plowing your tissues into the ball. And then if you want, it might actually be nice also to have 2 blocks stacked or a little higher, so that right now I can't even fully flex my foot because my foot is longer than the height of the block. Yeah, if you have 2 blocks, that's another option. And I want to say about the pain, no more than a 7 on a scale of 1 to 10. So for me, this is definitely a 7 right here. Remember to breathe. I'm saying that as much to myself as to you. And then maybe add some motion, circling. External, rotate your ankle like in any kind of direction. Yeah, anyway, as I said earlier, I could spend 30 minutes on this, but we want to move on. So next thing we will do is the ankles. And I like to sit on a little cushion for that, just because it makes it a little easier. You don't have to. You can also sit on directly on the floor. Let's see, maybe I move a little further back so my head is not chopped off. And maybe this might actually be too high. I have to explore. So I'm doing the right ankle first, and see, this is the lateral malleosis. It's a little bony here at the bone that sticks out. So, hold on. We will put the ball kind of right in front of this, right? So right here, somewhere on that ankle. And I think this might be too high. Maybe I just use my blanket. I just want a little bit of a lift for my hips, so it's a little easier. So put the ball there. And I like to now, it's again, this kind of plowing motion. And if you can't sit cross-legged, you can do this. This might be easier. Just press that ball. So you're squeezing the ball from the front toward the tibia and the back. So you're kind of squeezing the ball toward the back of the leg. And now you can add, again, you can add motion. It always makes it more intense, pointing and flexing, maybe rotating. But even just pressing in and putting that leg back and just doing this is really nice. You can use your, so I'm really squishing the ball, kind of toward the back of the leg in that spot. That feels really good. Another thing that might feel good, you can explore all kinds of different things. Maybe making a ball stack, so you can, either spin that ball, so you do like both inner and outer ankle. Yeah, and you can even wind this one up a little bit. So spin it, wind it up. Oh, that feels so good. Another thing that's nice is to kind of do that's a little milder. If you just do without the pressure, you just do this. Might also feel really good on the ankle, just doing it. If you're very sensitive, I would recommend not doing the pressure, but just kind of doing a little bit of this grippiness, just spinning the ball and winding it up. That feels really good too, around the ankle. This might feel really good. Yeah, I like the pressure, but it depends. Like if your ankles are very sensitive, so always listen to your own body versus just doing something that the teacher says if that doesn't feel good. And it's nice to tuck that back. So this is, like, for me, this is the most comfortable way to do it. All right, let's move on to the other side. So starting again, you can, if you're sensitive, just do the little spinning. You put the ball, you spin it, so you're winding up, you're kind of spinning up your tissues a little bit. So that might feel really good. Just a little pre-massage. And then you put that ball right there. Different spots really, but I like it right there in front. That's where I feel the most. And then again, I like to just start like this plowing motion. So you're using your hands, I'm chopping my face off here. You're using your hands to kind of push. And before you even do much, just doing that little pressure, breathe. Yeah. And then if you want to add some motion, you can even help your foot move with the other hand. And you can always hold it in one position if it's more intense, for instance, like this. And if you want to add, do that little spinning, wind it up. feels good. Maybe doing a little ball stack. I have to scooch a little back, but my ball escaped here. I want it right here. Yeah, just explore different areas. For me, this is right in front of the lateral malleosis, not as intense as right here. So I'm doing a spot that, just that's what I want you to explore too, like really find a spot that works for you where you feel something. It's definitely more intense for me, a little bit above it. And then maybe adding a little massage for the inner ankle, just pushing and spinning. Or you can also just press with hands, right? So, ooh, yeah. Feels good. Okay, we have a lot more to cover, so let's move on to the feet. And it might be helpful for one of the foot practices to have a wall or a chair you can lean on for the top of the foot. We will massage at the very end. We will use one foot, kind of do this where we're standing, massaging the top of the foot, and it's nice to lean against something. So for the, probably have to step a little further away, but what we will do, you need just one ball at a time. And actually, it's okay, this way you can see it. So we will start with the heel on the floor. And the ball is right like where the big toe mount is, right under that big toe mount. Like not right here, but right here. And you just, and these, my balls are not brand new. I like to do this with brand new firm balls. But if you don't feel anything and you have a newer pair, then do that. Otherwise, if you're very sensitive, an older pair that's a little softer. And then you start to like switch between eversion and inversion. So you kind of rotate. This is also really nice. That's why it's nice to warm up the ankles before we do this. And again, breathe. And you can decide if it's sensitive, you have more weight in the back foot. But if you want more, you really lean into that leg, that foot where the ball is. I've said that many times before, but I have these balls in my bathroom. And while I'm not doing this motion while I'm brushing my teeth, just standing on both balls when you brush your teeth, this is so good, right? So you can lean against this thing and just doing this, or when you brush your teeth, you're just standing on them and do a little bit of that. Feels so amazing. All right. And now let's move on to the kind of, this is the, what was it called again? The plantaris, the quadratus plantae. Plantae. This is that muscle when you have plantar fasciitis. So again, if these balls are not as, they're pretty soft now, but I like to, maybe I have some hard new ones. Let me see the difference. Because I used to have the worst plantar fasciitis, and now that I've been doing this, oh yeah, these are brand new. This is better for me. But yeah, if you have plantar fasciitis and it hurts a lot, then definitely use an older pair. I'm going to come a little closer so you see this better. And now you do kind of a scraping motion, right? You crossing against. And again, you can control, you can put more weight into that foot or less. Oh, this way, here we go. I'm going to show it from the back. Oops. So you go. Cross. It's so good. All right. And then we'll be doing a little bit of bowling alley. So going from the heel to the big toe. Oops. They don't want to play along today, the balls. They're skipping. And just go like a nice little rollout. Okay, and now my favorite part. Now we're using all these different muscles I showed you earlier, right? We have all these different muscles. So I should have done a pedicure before this. So we start by gripping the ball, like really using those flexors, right? Like really squeeze, those are the muscles under the foot. Make a toe fist, and now use the extensors and pull up the toes and spread them. There's also abductors that help you. There's the muscles I didn't show you, but there's muscles that help you spread the toes. So spread the toes as much as you can, and then grab. Squeeze, and then extend. Squeeze. This is so good for your feet, also for the plantar fasciitis. So because you're getting now that muscle is activated and now it's stretched. So you're really doing that contract, relax. And now you know you have a separate muscle for the big toe. So just lift the big toe. And then keep that down and lift the small ones. And you might notice your fingers are trying to play along. It's the same part in the brain, I was told, because I was like, why are the fingers trying to help? And you can literally help with your fingers if you're struggling with this. So what I first did when I first did this, and I couldn't do it at all. So you can actually, you know, use your finger, pull it up, and then push this down and help your. So you're still using those muscles, but you're helping with you're training your brain to kind of realize, hey, this is what we're doing. Okay, a few more times. All right, other foot. And I recommend using the other balls so that you wear them down equally. So we're starting with the heel on the floor, and then doing this eversion, inversion motion, in and out. Yeah, so by the way, if you wear all the supportive shoe wear with arch support and all that stuff, or support because you're pronating, you know, because you kind of have that leaning in or out, those things make your muscles in the feet really weak. The last thing you want, the more support you give something, the less strong the muscle will be. So I think those are the worst invention ever. But yeah, I had all those shoes and I totally believed all this stuff. And now I'm walking pretty much barefoot all the time, or on socks if it's too cold. And then you do the one, this is the plantar fasciitis spot. So you do that scraping off, you're crossing. This ball also feels soft. Maybe I'm using, I think this is one. Yeah, this is a mixed pair. Somehow this is farmer. I like the farmer one. This is a really good thing to do if you have brand new balls, to kind of break them in. But unless you have acute plantar fasciitis, you definitely don't want to use, you want to use softer balls. Yeah, this is so nice. And then let's do a little bit of bowling. Oh, I forgot the top of the foot on the other side, but we will do that at the end. So you basically, you know, you have the ball going more to the side, and then you have the ball going to the middle, more to the big. Just kind of really nice. So don't try it too perfect to aim, but just kind of don't just roll in the middle of the foot. That's what I'm saying. Okay, now let's do the fun part. Let's do the toe fist. So squeeze, use those flexors, and then extend, spread, squeeze. A few times. Isn't that nice? And you feel it right all the way up here, because remember, that's what those muscles, those extensors, right? They were all the way up here. Okay, and now the one separate, just the big toe. Leave that down. This is, I'm definitely struggling more on the right side. And then here, lifting those toes up and then down. The big toe itself is kind of easy, but I find it hard on this side to keep that one down. That one always wants to be in the game. So a few more times. Okay. And now let's do the thing where, so I don't have a chair right here or a wall. I would have to step, but basically you're putting the ball right here. So you get that nice, this is a nice stretch for your calves if you do yoga. Really good for your forward fold to do this stuff before you do a forward fold, because you actually, by just stretching the bottom of the soles of the foot, you actually get a more length in your hamstrings. So now you are using your other foot. And maybe I'm actually bringing my chair over, because I definitely don't want to trip. So I have a chair right here. So I'm putting that here so I can actually have support. And I want to show you. So you're using your other foot to massage the tissues on top. All those extensors, right? All those muscles that pull your toes up. All those muscles. And the skin is very thin there. So yeah, I'm showing it from the front, maybe a little closer. So the ball is right there. Heel is on the floor, and then you're just using your other foot to. Could be quite sensitive for me here. You can also do that with the ball, what we did earlier on the ankle, where you spin the ball. Okay, and then other foot. Yeah, definitely nice to have support here. If you do this in your bathroom, you can lean against the sink or use a chair or a wall. And it's nice to stay. If you feel it good, if this feels really nice, there's no need to move fast, right? So you really take your time. It's so good. Yeah, the left one for me is more sensitive. Okay, and then let's move on to the calves. Move my chair back out of the frame. So we need to put them in the tote. And we need a block. So there's one, let me show you one other version for calves before we do this one. So there's one that's like the sandwich, which where you place the balls right here between and you do that sandwich and you shimmy your hips. So that's one way to do the calves. Another way where you don't involve the hamstrings is on your back with a yoga block. And you can actually, well, if the balls are toted, being on the skin doesn't really give you that nice grip. So when the balls are on the tote, it usually doesn't make sense to have the bare skin, but you can also explore with one ball, what I did on the shin earlier. So right now I'm just showing the version. Let me see if I have enough, too much stuff here. Okay, so you have the toted balls and then you lay on your back. Let me see. Okay, I want you to see my legs. So basically, and then you stack the other foot on top. So this is also a great way if you read a book, right? You can, if you're on your back, you can, let's see. So first of all, as you can just stay here and just breathe. I want you to see my whole foot, so maybe just scooch back a little bit more, or maybe do this. This might be an option. Here we go. And now you can, and obviously it depends on where your starting point is. Now you can bend and straighten your legs and then you roll the calves. I have to be a little closer here. Be more in the middle of the calf. Yeah, so this is a more gentle version than the sandwich. Let's see, this is a good spot. And it might feel nice to lift your hips up, and now I feel something, right? Yeah. I think I have to start a little higher, where that gastrocnemius, that thick muscle is. Yeah, so find a spot, and then you can also rotate. So you're rotating more. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm basically shifting my weight a little bit side to side. You can place your arms. So you are, and then you can add pointing and flexing. So here, oh yeah, now I feel something. Find a spot that's good, and you can definitely do this with one ball on the bare skin. Like say I just have the ball on the outer calf, because that's where I feel the most. So now you're contracting the calf, right? And when you do this, when you flex, you stretch it. Feels so nice, doesn't it? Again, you can also lean. This is, oh, wow. Leaning into that spot that's tight and then do, oh yeah. I don't even need that other foot. So the less weight or the less load on that muscle, obviously the less intense, right? If you feel nothing, then you do that stacking here. This definitely, wow. I didn't know that this was so tight. Breathe, don't forget that breath. And you know, you can definitely just stay here when you read. You know, you don't want to use sustained compression for more than maybe 2 or 3 minutes. So, you know, don't be like on one spot too long. Okay, and let's switch other side to the other side. So placing the calf here. And then it's a little bit negotiation here of the block, bending and straightening. Now I need to push it a little further away. Oops. It's nice when you have 2 blocks in a row. You see, I have another block. If you have 2, you can build yourself a little longer runway. Let's see how that works. Maybe that's a little easier. But yeah, then your foot still can, it doesn't really make a difference. I was just exploring, because your foot then cannot really bend all the way. Just testing. Okay. And then find a spot. So let's see. And you can always do the lifting up. So now you're loading the muscle with more weight, and you can even do a little pulling and pushing with your hands like so. Ooh, that is a good one.
Yeah. Now I feel something. Hips off the floor. Oh, yeah. That's a good one. And then you can rotate your body. Again, now I have my full weight. I'm hips off the floor and I'm stacking my feet. And the nice version is hips down and then just one leg. So that's less intense, right? But even this feels good, just rotating the leg side to side. This is a more relaxing version, more or less relaxing than the sandwich of the hamstrings and the calves. But yeah, just this is really good too. So for me, it's definitely more the upper area of the calves, but we can also explore. I haven't really tried kind of more the Achilles area, so you can definitely explore the whole length. Let's see. No, this is good for me. Here a little bit here on the inside. So just be curious, just move around, try different areas, you know. Turning, I definitely feel it right here on the inner. Where we rolled earlier, I rolled a little bit lower than this. All right, so that is the conclusion of the lower legs, feet, roll and relax treatment. So you're getting, and it's roll and relax is a little bit, it's relaxing, but right at the same time, you want your muscles to be strong and to be able to perform optimally, and a tight muscle can never perform optimally. So sometimes people think, especially that bodybuilders or athletes, like, oh, why would I, stretch? Stretching is overrated, but it's so important to give your muscle the full ability to lengthen and contract. Unless when you're in a frozen state, right, when you can't really move, you don't have that power then when you have the full range of motion. So that's what I want to encourage you guys to use these balls to really get the blood flowing, get the fascia to loosen up, so you get that slide and glide in the fascia, the connective tissues. If you want to know more about improving your eyesight, and I'm using, by the way, it's not like I'm doing two different businesses. This is so important for good vision too, because any tension that you hold in your body, especially in the shoulders, the neck, the head, but even in the feet, right? So these two, like, I'm not a reflexologist, but this spot here is connected to the eyes. So, doing a lot of this, but even legs, I've recently heard that even like working with the legs connects to the eyes, right? So don't think about the body parts as like, just because the eyes are here and the feet are there, they're not connected. It's really, there's so much connections in the body, and the fascia alone, the blood, all that, everything is kind of connected. So think about it holistically. And if you go to myholisticvision.com, you can download my free guide called 10 Habits for Healthy, Happy Eyes. And what else can I say? And join my Facebook group, See Clearly Without Glasses. So that's a really good resource for you to get free support from me regarding your eyesight. But I'm using these balls with all my clients, with all my students, because releasing tension is so, 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 so important. Okay, that's it for this class. I hope you enjoyed this video. See you later. Bye.